And a very good evening to you. I am Griffin Epstein.
And I'm Laura Sandoval, and we're here reporting live from the Petaluma High School gym.
Indeed we are. What a game this is, Laura. You could call it the biggest girls basketball game in Petaluma this decade.
This decade? Why?
Yeah. Well, Petaluma Trojans, SCL, undefeated regular season champions, and they just won the tournament championship last weekend. Meanwhile, they're facing their crosstown rival, the Casa Grande Gauchos, here in the first round of the NCS playoffs. Now, winner go home. The loser, their season is over. The winner gets to move on in the playoffs, proving themselves as an elite. And it's always such a big deal when Casa and Petaluma get together. But playing in the NCS playoffs, I cannot tell you the last time that has happened in a Petaluma sport. It is absolutely remarkable that the Trojans 23-5 overall. They are on a 15-game win streak. They're 20-2 in their last 22 games. They have been really dominant lately, haven't they, Laura?
Yeah, they have been very dominant. I actually haven't been to any basketball game, but I've tuned into the live streams, and they're really exciting.
Absolutely. They find a way to pull out victories every time. Coach Ratchin has done such a great job with these girls improving, but you cannot underestimate Casa. Casa given the 6-8 seed in NCS, the Trojans given the 9th seed, and there's a reason for that. Casa Grande, 14-12 overall. Yes, they're 6-8 in league, but they played in a very good NBL this year. They have some very good wins, including beating the Trojans back in early December, 43-31.
So what do you think is the Trojans' biggest weakness? What do they need to work on and improve on to beat Casa?
Well, as I was about to get to, the big concern for the game tonight is Jaden Chris, the Trojans' best player, their leading rebounder, really their main focus on offense, is not playing. She's in street clothes tonight due to a really pretty devastating injury she suffered in the first minute of the SCL tournament championship game on Saturday. She had a bad injury last year. It appears to be similar. Yes. Oh, okay. All right. Can you grab? Okay,
Turn down the mics. Turn down the mics.
No. All right, we're just moving cameras for just a moment because the student section, Laura, for the first time all season long is opening. Can you grab it, Matt? The camera, they're opening the student section. So can you bring that down? No.
The students are going to...
Just put it here. Bring it here.
Turn down the mics, man.
All right, so how about the student section opening, Laura?
That is really exciting. I hear there's not a really big turnout at any of the girls' basketball games.
It's definitely been smaller than the boys, but this game means so much. Casa Petaluma in the NCS playoffs. This place is absolutely filling up. It is going to be a super packed gym. It's going to be a lot of fun. As we mentioned, the Trojans are without Chris, second leading scorer, and she's really the main focal point on offense for the Trojans. So I think that is something that they really have to be concerned about today. The other factor that we look at in that loss that the Trojans suffered, Casa Grande's best player in that game, Mia Kane, was not playing. So we have injury factors in both games. Mia Kane is playing in this game for Casa Grande.
Yeah.
Obviously, the other factor that you do look at in the 12-point loss,
That's my college counselor.
Oh, wow. In the 12-point loss for the Trojans, that game was tight throughout. It was a 3-point game at the end of the fourth quarter, and they pulled Trojans. Really fell apart in that last fourth quarter. Everything snowballed and went wrong for them there. But that was their worst stretch of the season. They were really struggling in early December. That was when they had some tough losses. The Trojans, I thought, were the better team probably in that game and have proved enough that they are better than Casa Grande. But I think the injury factor tonight makes it that it is going to be absolutely nail-biter. It should be super close, and it might come down to who holds the moment better, something the Trojans have done a really good job with.
All right.
Overtime victories, including on Friday night. What an exciting game that was. They beat the Sonoma Valley Dragons in the SCL championship game, 44-37. It was a lot of fun. Gym is filling up, and let's listen in to PA announcer Michael Barabalt.
participate in the CIF Northwest Section Championships, thanks in large part to the generosity of our family of corporate partners. Please remember to support our corporate partners in appreciation of their support for our student athletes. Our title sponsor is Les Schwab Tires. The official ball is the Spalding basketball.
So Michael Barabalt just going through the required NCS requirements because this is such a huge game. You don't, as we mentioned, Petaluma teams facing off in NCS doesn't happen a lot, but especially how well these teams have played. They both come in with a lot of confidence. Casa Grande coming off some good wins. They defeated Alameda. They played Montgomery, who finished second, very closely when they last played them. Victories over Santa Rosa. They suffered tough losses to Ukiah, Rancho, and Powerhouse. Newman, those are their last 10 games, but the record is deceiving. They have a lot of talent on their team. Mia Kane, probably the top player. She is going to be really good tonight and very motivated to come out. She is a senior, but so are the Trojan seniors.
How do the boys basketball team at Newman, how do they do?
It's not on here. So we will have introductions. Let's listen in again to Michael Barabalt.
Put it through the wrist. Like put it through the wrist and then go back around.
Number 4, Emily Goulart.
We got it.
A 5'9" forward, a junior, number 5, Jennifer Loyal.
Are they allowed to chew gum while they're playing? Okay, now I'm out of shot.
A 5'7" senior forward, number 14, Jashawn Niggle. A 5'11" junior center, number 15, Shayla Dunker. A 5'5" freshman guard, number 20, Ashley Casper.
My wallet's under your chair over there.
A 5'4" sophomore guard, number 21, Emma Reese. A 5'7" senior guard, number 22, Catherine Silvera. And a 5'10" senior freshman center, number 30, Bella Blue.
All right, those were all the reserves for Casa Grande. So now we'll hit the reserves for the Trojans. Mentioned Jaden Chris not playing. Kylie Pate suffered an injury, but she is still playing for this one for the Trojans, battling through a head injury. No concussion.
A junior forward, number 20, Angelina Scapolosi. A sophomore forward, number 22, Ella Weinberg. A junior forward, number 25, Lily Cavazzoli.
Yeah, Lily!
A sophomore forward, number 30, Lila Bacon. A junior guard, number 33, Cassidy Bacon. A sophomore guard, number 35, Marissa Temple. And a junior center, number 44, Jaden Chris.
Matthew.
Let's now meet the starters. First from visiting Casa Grande and
All right, here are the starters for the Gauchos after you just heard reserves for both teams. Team Chris in street clothes tonight. Got her injury checked out tonight. We'll see how bad it is. Here's Dan Sachs, Gauchos.
A 5'10" senior forward, number 23, Mia. A 5'4" freshman guard, number 24, Sophia Garcia. And a 5'11" junior forward, number 33, Samantha Jefferson. Casa Grande is coached by Dan Sachs, assisted by Bob
see Casa has some youth. They have a couple seniors, but you got 2 freshmen starting in that starting lineup. So experience isn't the highest. Here is your Petaluma Trojans starting intros.
Number 10, to be taking. A senior guard, number 11, Casa. A senior guard, number 21, Courtney Temple. A senior forward, number 24, Kessie Martin. And a sophomore guard, number 40, Shireen Erica. Petaluma is coached by John Ratchet, assisted by Gretchen Hoffman and Sophie Min.
There it is, your starting lineups for both Ericat taking Chris spot, which means the Trojans will go smaller, but as we mentioned, they were able to pull off a victory against Sonoma Valley on Friday night in the SCL Tournament Championship, even though they struggled offensively for a lot of that game. They just did enough. Kelsey Martin hit a 3-throw to send it into overtime. The Trojans have been clutch all year. If it's close, you have to like them to win. Here is the national anthem. Here we go. National anthem, Violet Deerdorf. And
That wasn't Violet
Was it not? It was someone. I don't know
It
who
was a recording.
It was a really nice recording.
Yeah.
It sounded like Violet Deerdorf. I don't know. All right, we got what should be an amazingly fun 32 minutes of basketball. The students are here. The crowd is here. There is not a seat in this gym to be had. There's not. I don't know why you're laughing. Okay, maybe a couple. But this place is packed to the brim. Supporters from both sides. It's the crosstown rivalry, number 2 in the NCS playoff. Winner moves to the quarterfinals of NCS. The loser, their season is over.
Over.
What a turnaround for the Trojans. They were 9-18 last year, 5-7 in SCL. This year, undefeated in SCL, 12-0, 23-5 overall. And they have a 14-game win streak going. Costa will tip with somewhere underway. Gaucho ball to start here from the Petaluma High School Gym live. 3 ball is good. That's how you want to start it for the Gauchos.
Was that 3 points?
Hannah Sullivan from downtown. Well, a quick start's important here, Laura. There's a lot of pressure on both teams, isn't there? A lot of pressure on both teams. A quick start's pivotal.
Yeah. What do I...
Poked out, and it will be Trojan ball. Drive inside by Marn, who has to be feeling confident after she had the 3-throw that sent the game to overtime on Friday night against Sonoma, as Pate fouls Trinity Merwin, who's one of those 2 freshman starters in there, and that might be the biggest advantage for the Trojans. You don't think of experience. They only have 3 seniors, Laura, but Casa's got a couple freshmen start in there in this huge game. That can't be easy for them.
No, it really can't.
Offensive board pulled down on her own shot and laid in by Mia Kane. And we talked about it. Kane did not play when the Trojans went to the Gaucho Den in early December in that loss. Now the Trojans without Chris, a reversal in terms of injury fate. And that has to be a concern. Another turnover there, trying to force it into Martin. And Gaucho ball early. The Gauchos looking a lot more energized. You wonder where the Trojans are mentally after that thrilling victory over Sonoma Valley. Looked like they were going to lose. Shocking comeback. Martin missed her first free throw with 3 seconds left as Casa gets a steal, but she baked it her second. That sent the game to overtime, and the Trojans dominated overtime by an 8-2 score to raise the trophy for the FCL tournament. Costa is fouled. First team foul on the Gauchos. Gauchos with a very quick start here at 5-0. And the Trojans are going to be challenged without Chris. She's the main source of offense. Averages almost 9 points per game for them, only behind Eric Cadden scoring. And right now just 11. A little sloppy with the ball.
Trinity Merwin.
Merwin playing well. And Sophia Gardia, the other freshman, running the floor. And this is 7-0. You wonder if Coach Ratchin wants a timeout soon. This is not the start you want from the Trojans. Temple, one of those 3 seniors, along with Costa and Martin. And Martin's been willing to throw shots up at will, and she's been hitting a little bit better lately. But Trojans were definitely out of control at points against Sonoma Valley without being able to rely on Chris, as Temple's 3 is off the mark. Offensive board pulled down by Dedrickson, who's 5'11" and is now the tallest player on the court without Jaden Christ out there. That was such a huge thing against Sonoma. The Trojans couldn't go inside. They had to find other ways offensively. And quick timeout, Coach Ratchin. What a disastrous start for the Trojans. Sophia Gardia lays it in, and 9-0 already, Laura. Wow.
That's rough.
Yeah, how do the Trojans looks like they're a little nervous and tentative coming out? We've seen this before by them. How do they wake up?
I think they just got to get in there. Obviously, I think the more that you score, the more that you get motivated to score even more. So they need a little confidence, and they need to make one in. Fortunately, all of their shots have been missed so far.
And the one issue that this year for the Trojans has been that they've had issues at points, can't hit shots, turn over the ball, and everything snowballs.
It seems to me like they have a lot of slips, a lot of
turnovers early.
A lot of overthinking when they pass the ball.
And they've done that for quarters, halves, and games, and it's been unfortunate, but they found ways to work through it and win, especially late in the year, and that happened against Casa Grande in the 4th quarter. They barely scored there. Eric Cat, the sophomore, trying to take initiative in her first varsity start, and the leading scorer for the Trojans at almost 11 points per game. Right now, though, the Trojan defense not even good, which is almost always a strong suit, even when things start to go wrong for them. 3 ball off the mark and foul on the Trojans on Temple. No, I'm sorry, on the Gauchos. Second team foul. Appreciate everyone tuning in live. Feel free to leave a comment in the live chat, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. Gaucho and Trojan fans alike here. This all Petaluma crosstown rivalry. Eric Cadden, Pate wide open from downtown. They need this, and they get this. Well, maybe timeout, Dan Sack of the Gauchos. Maybe that will open up things for the Trojans, Laura.
Yeah, it will. See, everyone got all riled up now.
Yeah, it feels like that first basket always so big for your confidence.
Yeah, it really is.
And big to see Pate out there. She was hit in the head pretty badly against Sonoma Valley. It was such a physical game without Chris.
That was 2 games ago, if I'm correct.
No, last game on Friday night. And that game's on ysm360.com if you want to check it out. Was lucky.
Wasn't there a SCL championship on Saturday?
Friday night.
Yeah. Okay. So it was against Sonoma, not Annalee?
Right. They defeated Annalee, their league rival, in the semifinal, 47-43. Trojans swept the series with Annalee as they did with Sonoma, but almost every game was close. The Trojans seem to play close games against teams, but the Gauchos are trying to hit a lot of threes, and that's big. Trojans love to build walls around the paint. However, without Kristen there, it does make it a lot harder. Travel by Costa. You can't afford those. We haven't seen a lot of that this year from the Trojans, but occasionally those demons come back. Travel.
Why did they just call them?
because she walked with the ball.
Oh.
Without dribbling. Can't do that in basketball. Nicole Costa, the senior captain, knows that. Good hands by Era Cat to poke it out. Shireen Era Cat,
If people
the
are watching
sophomore.
this, do we have any comments?
Do not. It's right there.
Hello.
Shireen Era Cat, the sophomore for the Trojans, but she has played really well for them. Been their leading scorer, been the breakout player. A big reason for their success as the Gauchos throw it away. And Pete, who you saw hit the three, leads the Trojans in three-point shooting at 27% per game from the three-point line. Overall, not a team that shoots a lot of threes, just over 20% from behind the arc.
Oh.
That one is, again, just thrown away by Temple. Looked like it was tipped out. And Courtney Temple, the senior, not happy about that call, but that is what the refs rule there. A lot of tension you can feel in the gym on both sides. This place could really get rocking if it is tight close. We'll see if the Gauchos try to use their size without Chris there as they go in to Mia Kane, the 5'10 senior center, who's the captain for the Gauchos and is such a talented player. Had a rough injury early this year, was out all the way into January, but she has really played well since she's come back. It's been a big help for the Gauchos in some of their victories.
Ooh, missed that free throw.
Included a third Constellation victory in the West Coast Jamboree.
Mia Kane.
But a lot of games as Kane hits both. Gauchos lost a lot of close games to Rancho, Ukiah. Those are some of the top teams in NBL, and they did not make the NBL tournament because of those close losses. The Trojans won all their close games. That's why they are SCL champions. The Trojans are going to have to get it close, and right now the offense struggling.
Did you say NBL?
Yes. Martin's jumper off the mark. North Bay League.
Oh,
That's what the
league.
League Gauchos playing. See, they've opened up the student section here. No students. Students are in a different location due to the girls' basketball. The benches are flipped, so you can see the Trojans are sitting on the other side there, so they don't want the students sitting by the Gaucho bench. So just normal fans in there, but that was how full it was. They had to open it up for this inner city rival. And you can see the Gauchos game plan so far. Shoot threes and shoot threes. Era Cat loses it. It's last poked out by the Gauchos. Comes right to me. And pass. I passed to Nicole Casa. That was a solid pass, right, Laura?
Yeah.
I should join the basketball team, I've been
Nice
told.
job,
But
Kevin.
just don't have the shot for it. I think I'll stick to broadcasting.
Good.
Jordan swing it to Costa. Angelina Scacalosi and Liddy Catarazzoli just entered.
Missed
Pete
it.
trying to hit another three, but that one is off the mark. 10-3, the Trojans trail. 3:18 left, and a slow offensive start for the Trojans. Trojans want to get those cuts going, that ball movement. So far, not yet. A little sluggish, and putting Scacalosi and Catarazzoli, he's trying to get that spark in for them. They bring a lot of energy, but right now the Gauchos are just reading these passes of the Trojans, really doing a good job. Travel there. Trinity Merwin, the 5'6 freshman guard, walked. Trojans need to stop telegraphing their passes. They can get into a rhythm that is really remarkable. And even without Chris, we saw it in that overtime game against the Gauchos. Without Chris, that was really the first time all game they got into a rhythm. But they played well in the second quarter, put 12 points up in that second quarter. And they had their issues, and they were lucky because Sonoma Valley's not a big offensive team either. But they're probably a better team, the Dragons, defensively-wise, than the Gauchos. So if the Trojans can just get in a rhythm, get everyone shooting, everyone contributing, and they have such great depth, they should find a way to score, but you can't take too long. Era Cat couldn't hold on. The ball is now going to come to Laura. They're just trying to get it to us, aren't they? Well, stage Trojan ball. There we are.
I think that's on camera when I just tripped.
It's all right. Not on the basketball team either. Costa likely playing her final game in this Petaluma gym. She's meant so much to this program here. One of the best defensive players on the Trojans. Been huge. Shot clock running down. Era Cat's just got to get it off. They will count it. Ball was tipped there, but Era Cat stayed poised and laid it in. The leading scorer for the Trojans at 10.5 points per game. Averages 5 rebounds as well. Put 16 up. Was second. Was a season high for her at SCL. In the SCL regular season clinching victory over Annalee. What a thriller that was. You can check that one out on our YouTube channel. Helped clinch Trojans an undefeated season. Gauchos haven't had a lot of room to work inside. Jumper won't fall. They've gone a little cold. Trojans can't allow offensive boards. They allowed a couple early, but they've no doubt settled down. 10-5 the score here. Skakalosi somehow split the defense and forces the foul. What a power play there by Skakalosi. She's really a great physical player, isn't she?
Yes.
Plays with a fire, and she actually had the best game against Casa when they played back in December. Put 8 points up, and the Trojans...
I thought it was October.
No, they don't play in October. Trojans were hanging around and in that game, and a lot of credit to Skakalosi. Their intensity dropped there. It was a cold Friday night. It was hard to bring it, and Skakalosi was really physical, forcing a lot of jump balls, pulling down offensive boards, and really doing a great job.
Yeah.
She hits both free throws, too, something the Trojans have improved on. That's a mark of a good team.
Yeah.
And we do have a comment, Laura.
Oh, it's a comment. Trojans. Go Trojans. Yeah, thank you. Who is that? Shout out to 502 Kicker.
Appreciate the comments. Keep them
Go
coming.
Trojans. Thanks.
Great defense by Casa. I think she got a piece of that from behind. Leads the Trojans in block. She is a block monster. She had 6 blocks on senior night, on her senior night, as Era Cat drives to the rack but can't finish. And she just has such great intuition defensively. She gets the ball. She just seems to have a knack for knowing when players are going to shoot or where they're going to go. She has LeBron-like chase down blocks. Truly impressive. Oh, that's great. Ball movement there, but Skakalosi is a step ahead of it. Gardia was trying to give the extra pass, but I think she had the open lay-in. Too unselfish there, and the Trojans have cut this lead down to 10-7. The Gauchos led 7-0. Costa from downtown. It is short. Well, this place was ready to explode if the Trojans could tie it up there. Gaucho ball there, but a good look for Nicole Costa. She's taken one for the team, was the leading scorer last year, but she's really shared the offense more, and that's been so key. Even though Chris is so vital, the Trojans really like running her offense through there. They know they can still win this game because they have so much depth, and they have tons of other players that contribute to the score sheet. Costa's averaging about 6 points a game, much more reasonable, as the floater is good from Emma Reese, the 5'4 sophomore guard, another underclassman. There's 5 seniors on the Gauchos, but a lot of them don't even play. It's a young team, but there's absolutely some talent. They've been the dominant girls basketball program the last couple of years, as Era Cat had a bunny and just couldn't finish, but a great battle to get the ball back. That's how you do it. Era Cat always battling out there. She is so impressive to watch, isn't she?
Yes.
Only a sophomore for the Trojans. One of the few underclassmen that gets a lot of playing time out there. 6.3 seconds left, and the shot clock turned off here at the end of the first. Oh, and Pate trying to give it to Catarazzoli. Just weren't looking. Gauchos can fire one off. Ill-advised pass. That shot will not count. By Reese, we have reached the end of one. It is the Casa Grande Gauchos 12 and the Petaluma Trojans 7 so far. An exciting, exciting first quarter. You want to switch with Matt?
Yeah,
Let's switch with Matt.
totally.
Matthew Columba's going to join me in just a moment so we get more basketball knowledge.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's rude.
run
but
up
I'm
there.
sorry, I don't know about sports.
Run up there. Run up
Okay.
there. Laura will be up there. Laura will be switching and running camera in just a minute as the Trojans trail by 5 here. But after that really slow start, 7-0, Coach Ratchin called timeout. They made some adjustments, and they look much more settled down. So I think we're going to see a much more relaxed game offensively by the Trojans. Started to settle in. The Pate 3 was absolutely huge for the Trojans. Make sure to record when you're filming.
I stopped recording at when we go to timeout.
Cool. Just making an anchor switch here. Matthew Columba's joining me. You have like 30 seconds. And for this packed gym, first round of the NCAA. But we'll all right, apologies, just lost audio for a second. And Bella Weinberg, the sophomore who's just entered, enters as appreciate 5-0 kicker's comments. And now a foul called on Bacon. That looked like a travel to me there. I'm sorry, on Weinberg. 13 foul on the Trojans here, so bonus could be a factor. 7 fouls, we would head to the 1-1 bonus. And Bella Weinberg, someone that's shown some talent, hasn't gotten huge playing time because of Jaden Chris, but she has great size. She could be big here without Chris. 3 ball is wide right by Emma Reese. Offensive board pulled down, and the Trojans, it's going to be a lot harder to pull down those boards without Chris. It's going to be much more of a battle. They've already given up a couple already, and then the foul on Bacon. And the Trojans will inbound it out of bounds. We got you, Matt? No, in just a moment. Foul on Kane, her first. She's been such a big factor. You can already tell what a difference she makes to this Gaucho team. Weinberg trying to get in there, Cat, but pass is just a little too high. And Trojans, not all these passes are totally smart enough. Need to continue to work on it. And you know the nerves are still there, but they've definitely calmed down after that initial nerves. Pate's 3, a little bit too strong. Great battle by Bacon, and they call it, no, oh, did they call a foul? Wow, I don't know about that one. But that's a great battle by Cassidy Bacon. The Trojans do such a good job forcing jump balls, getting in there, getting offensive boards. They average 8 offensive rebounds per game. That has been one of the strengths of this team. So physical, so aggressive. They really do a great job there. And they've been calling it tight. And they continue to. Sophia Gardia takes the dive. Sister of a Petaluma High attendee, Carter Gardia, actually. An interesting dynamic with that family. The Gauchos going inside with Mia Kane. It would have been such a good battle to see Kane and Chris. They've battled for the last couple years. But no Chris today, and Weinberg a little bit less skilled out there. And it will stay Trojan ball. Another tip ball there. All right.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check.
We got you.
Check.
All right, Matthew Columba joining me, and so far it looked like the Trojans came out a little slow, a little tentative, but it feels like they've
you can definitely see the effects of not having Jane Chris out there in the center. We're not, when we go into the key, we're not making many of those shots right there. Although Erica was able to finish very nicely right there.
Yeah, that's absolutely key. She's in that center role. Obviously, she's a lot smaller, but she's such a physical player. She could finish.
No, she's able to drive right in through everyone, which is what Jane Chris is able to do. But Jane Chris has that effect with the height, and that gives her the advantage there, which we don't have tonight. So we got to make up for that. First half, they kind of realized, well, we got to do something now, and hopefully they see that more for the rest of the game.
Great effort by both, diving on the floor. Bacon gets to it. This place is fired. A cat from downtown.
Oh,
it goes
just at the back of the rim.
Coach Ratchet jumped 2 feet into the air, and so did most of the students in the gym, too. That one will look good. Jumper no good by Kane, and it's been interesting to see the Gauchos. They've fired up a lot of threes, even with Chris not in there. Often the Trojans' interior defense is so good that teams are forced to shoot threes, and the Gauchos are a good three-point shooting team, so that seems to be their goal.
The Gauchos got up on us a lot by a couple of those threes in the first quarter from what I saw, and we just did not have the pressure on them that we needed to have.
Eric Cat turns the corner. Oh, that's a beautiful move by Eric Cat.
Eric Cat's been so close on so many of them. She just can't have that final finish.
Yeah, halfway down. She's only got 4, but she's had a couple that have got in and out. She's got some good looks, and she's no doubt going to hit them sooner rather than later. Gauchos have gone cold meanwhile. Just 1 bucket here. They continue to fire away on threes, but they're not hitting them. I'm surprised they haven't got more inside to be a Cade with Chris not in there.
And what you're also seeing is they're playing wide, and we're just bunching up right there around the key, and they're able to pass outside for that shot.
I think you might want to go into Kane. She's been so effective. Cassidy Bacon has really played well lately. She's going to head to the line. 16 foul. The Gauchos. Trojans will be in the 1-1 bonus in just a moment. And yes, we will be doing interviews after the game, 502 kicker. And yes, it is pretty intense. This gym is jam-packed. It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
It is. For a girls' game, this is definitely the most attendance we've had all year. Actually, for the matter of the last couple of years, is the most attendance we've ever had.
I think it's the biggest Petaluma basketball game this decade.
Mm-hmm.
Opened up extra stands just for this one.
Student section, which is rarely ever open for girls' games.
Yeah. And Eric Cat pulled down an offensive board. She is fouled, and the Trojans will head to the line. And the Trojans' physicality right now is so key out there. They're getting to the free throw line. Now they got some free trips there.
And that's all that we're going to be able to do now without having Jane Chris on the inside. We just got to keep driving in, try to draw the foul, and put it in.
First round of the NCS playoffs. So much pressure for both teams. It's win or go home. Trojans have missed 3 straight free throws, a rarity. But so much pressure on this one. The crosstown rivalry. Casa the 8 seed, Trojans the 9 seed, but they get to host due to being league champions. And they call a foul there. Or no, they did. They did. They've called it pretty tight. Foul on Martin there. And
from what I'm seeing, Cassie Bacon's been left with 2 open players right there where she had no idea what to cover. If they swung it back out left, they would have had a 3-point shot open again.
But I think at this point, the threes aren't hitting. Mia Kane is right now a force inside. There's no Chris in there, and there's no one to answer for her size. She's 5'10", and Costa is 5'10", but she's going to play small forward, and she's currently on she's playing small forward, so she's not going to be inside. And the Trojan bigs are smaller. Rejection there by Kane. She is everywhere, and she didn't play. She was injured when the Trojans faced the Gauchos. She is already such a big factor in this game.
Definitely. She's really, from the moment of tip-off, she set the tone of the game.
And you knew this meant so much to her, the Gauchos senior, as Costa's jumper is off, and she has showed the full effort. 5 seniors on the Gauchos, but there's a lot of youth. Almost half the team are underclassmen. A lot of the seniors, besides Kane, don't play. And see
a lot of youth out there, but you definitely see the height because their players are on average a lot taller than ours are, and they're younger.
You'll see Gardia out there, only a freshman. Same with Trinity Merwin, both started. So there's plenty of inexperience out there. Kane's been leading the way.
That was an amazing swing around the key right there.
Yeah, and really good ball movement by the Gauchos, but they have not hit threes.
No, they're stalling right now.
Yeah, Trojans just need to find a way to get a couple shots. Eric Cat has had some good looks. That one, though, she's double-teamed, and she had a wide-open Mard. She's got to know when to pass it away. She's such a good shooter.
If she did a baseline pass right on the base, she would have been able to swing it out too.
And she can hit almost about any shot, but sometimes there were better looks, and that time there was.
No, especially if you're getting double-teamed. If you're getting double-teamed, you know you have an open man somewhere with a shot.
Yeah. Costa and Martin have something special going, but wasn't the cut. Sometimes you see just brilliant cuts by Eric Cat to Costa, and you could tell they worked on it in practice, but that was not a great shot by Eric Cat. Catarzoli and Scacolosi get a re-enter in just a moment. They're almost a tag team of intensity. 3 balls just are not falling at all.
Right now, both teams are at a standoff. I haven't seen a single shot go in the past couple, the past minute.
Gone cold. No field goals in the last 3 minutes. Another steal there by the Gauchos, and the Trojans have been cold all night long. Well, they were bound to hit one, and the secondary captain for the Gauchos, Hannah Sullivan, who led the Gauchos in scoring back in December, hits the 3 there.
Coach Rashin telling the girls to go ahead and calm down a little bit and slow down the pace.
Yeah, but offense was brought up a little bit late there, but has it since. Eric Cat is shooting at will, but she's struggling a little bit right now. You can see it with her body language, but Cassidy Bacon certainly is. It forces the number jump ball. She really provides great energy out there, does Bacon. She's really improved this year.
Definitely, and she's definitely going to be a strong player next season.
Yeah, the junior on JV last year, and she had 8 points against Annalee last Tuesday night in the Trojans SCL semifinal victory. Was averaging about a point per game for much of the season. She's up to 4 points per game now and really plays well on both sides of the court. She could be a starter next year the way she is starting to improve of late. Tip ball. Bacon picks it up. I had the rejection the other way by Dedrickton, but I really don't understand by the refs.
Yeah. Girls not really used to having that student section out. They went right into it.
Yeah, the Gaucho student section on that other side, a scant amount of green and gold over there. Students have made their way across town. The 10-minute drive. Costa baseline. She likes that shot, but she's missed a couple from there. And really surprised the refs didn't call that they've called it on the other end when the Trojans have had some shots that have looked like blocks, but they don't call it there. Just want to be consistent. Jumper off the mark. Trojan ball.
Odds are that maybe none of them had the best angle on it, which it matters a lot in this game to always have the best angle, but sometimes you just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eric Cat re-enter. I think it's smart by Coach Ratchet to give her a breather. She just looked a little bit frustrated out there. This is a big moment for the sophomore. I know she was nervous. Catavazzoli just couldn't hold on to that one. Just turning the ball over. They just look out of sync offensively, don't they?
Without Eric Cat in there to, oh, my bad.
Without Chris, yeah.
Without Chris in there to center them up and give them someone on the inside, they're really struggling.
Oh, what a block
with an amazing
Costa.
block.
Oh, my goodness. The ball movement is so good there. Wheel allowed. Ball movement is so good there by the Gauchos, and you think, oh, they gotta get a good three. But Costa, her instincts are so good. It's last off the Gauchos. She raced in there to swat it away. What a play by
that
the
was an
senior
absolutely
captain.
amazing stop, and there's nothing much more better you can do to that. Hopefully we see the after effects of that.
She has such great intuition, such great ball skills. You see it on that pass. Catavazzoli can't finish inside, and Trojans are getting inside. They're getting in the paint, but they're just rushing it. They're a little out of control there, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a little rambunctious, but I can see why, because they're down right now and they're just really rushing, trying to get more points, but they need to slow down and make the shots that they can make.
Can't think about the moment, how big this is. NCS playoffs, first time. It's Costa tips it. First time the Trojans have been in NCS since 2015. It's their first SCL victory, first SCL championship this year in 5 years. That's up and down by Kane. Good defense there by the Trojans to make Kane uncomfortable. This game means so much to this Petaluma basketball program, and really the Trojans get a victory would signal that the balance of power is starting to shift over back to Petaluma Trojan girls basketball. It's been in the Gauchos' hand the last couple of years after the Trojans had really built a powerhouse under Doug Johnson.
Well, Coach Rajan's definitely done a lot to improve this team starting last season.
They were struggling a little bit out in the wilderness, trying to find a coach that will work. Coach Ratchet has worked perfectly with this team. They've improved so much from a team that didn't make the NCS playoffs last year, was seeded 22nd. They were 8 spots out of the NCS playoffs, this year being the 9th seed.
19 seconds with the shot clock turned off.
Yes, Trojans should hold for their last shot here, but they've only put up 11 points this entire half. Scacalosi wide open. You may as well take that. Eric Cat pulls down the offensive board. She can't finish. Another try. And doesn't go. 2 seconds left. If the Gauchos get a shot off, they do. It is no good from Gardia. And a low-scoring first half here. The Trojans trail 19-11.
Well, it's definitely, they had a very rough start. They were a little late to the party. But I hope they did pick it up a little bit in the start of that second quarter, but it just wasn't enough to catch the. What I'm seeing right now is about the same lead that Casa Grande had coming into the second quarter. The Trojans haven't really been able to make up that much ground, but they've been able to put a stop on them from going ahead as much as they were.
Absolutely. They've just been a little slow here in the second half.
A little slow to get started.
And it looks like that moment gets to her. You're the frame. Nonetheless, the Trojan defense, especially in that second quarter, was really good. The Gauchos scored 7 points in the first 2 minutes. Since then, they've had 12 points in 12 minutes.
The Trojans just weren't really prepared for that, but they did wake up a little bit, I guess you could say, and they taken more steps. We've been seeing them get a little more aggressive in the offensive key, but they still have to make up a little bit, and they haven't been able to quite do that yet.
Yeah, and it's been good ball movement by the Gauchos. They've tried. They've gotten into Kane, but the Trojans have done a good job clogging the paint, even without Chris and with Costa just guarding that perimeter. It's been hard for the Gauchos really to get into rhythm from the three-point line.
Exactly. Petaluma was able to hold them to only, what would you say, like three three-point shots?
3-pointers, I
2
think,
or 3, which is definitely a lot less than what it was in that first quarter.
Yeah, and the Gauchos hit a lot of threes in their victory back in December. It's something they're trying again. The Trojans have made a good adjustment, I think, there. 11 points, though. The Trojans struggled offensively for a lot of that Sonoma game on Friday night without Chris. They ended up with 44 points, but that was only in overtime. They only had 35 points through 3 quarters. They've had some more offensive struggles as late. They won a 25-18 game against the Dragons 2 weeks ago on senior night. How do they pick up the offense tonight? Because you know the Gauchos are going to hit a couple more threes. They're going to need to find something.
They will, and they have been working on that. They got a little more offensive going into that second quarter, but then again, they got a little slow and started to drown off a little bit. Hopefully Coach Rodson is talking to them right now, telling them that they need to bring that intensity back out here, and then they'll make the game very close. Because the game was within, within 2 points or 3 points for a little bit?
Yeah, Trojans cut it down to 2 at one point. I think down to 13-11, I think. Mm-hmm. And then the Gauchos go on a run there. Trojans could not score in those last about 5 minutes of the second quarter, just had 2 3 throws.
No, they got the offensive rebounds, but they just couldn't put it in the bucket.
Yeah, and I think that frustration build, it often snowballs this year, especially Eric Cat just looked a little bit frustrated. She had a 3 that was wide open that would have tied the game. She had a couple other bunnies that she's missed, and I could see the frustration in her face. You have to find a way to turn around. This is so important, but you can't let the past thoughts dwell on you, can you?
No, because as soon as you let it start dwelling on you, it's going to put you in a bad mental state of the game, and it's going to your mental health during the game is everything to you.
Right.
You can be having the best game, and then one mistake can send you down, and you won't make anything else. What the Trojans need to do is pick up their spirits. Hopefully the team captain, Nicole Casa, takes care of that out there and picks up her team, because her teams, they're not going to be able to do much more unless they bring the attitude back.
And sometimes big plays on defense can lead to offense. You might have thought that big block would have. It did not. I don't think, though, it is that energy that's lacking. I think it's almost more of the nerves, the rushing things. We've seen at points where they've just dropped intensity in regular season games. Obviously, you're going to be feeling it the whole game. I think it's almost the opposite effect, that this moment is big for them. This is completely packed gym. There's so much pressure on them. They've got a packed student section, and I think they've rushed some things a little bit. They felt the moment, and they've started missing shots. They've lost that confidence.
They have been rushing things, and when you never want to rush something in basketball, because that's when you start making those mistakes. That's when you'll be like an inch off from your shot. They just need to slow it down, make the shots that they can make, and then start working out from the key. But whenever they're in that key, they have to finish the play.
Absolutely. I would point to, if you're Coach Ratchin, what they did in overtime on Friday night. You can check out the full game on YSN365.com. Got the pleasure to call it. And in that game, they really struggled offensively, but they got the game to overtime somehow. They were trailing in that game by 5 points with 1:30 left, but the Sonoma turned it over. Martin hit a 3 throw that sent the game to overtime, and that gave them so much confidence. They got into a great rhythm in that overtime. They scored 8 points in 4 minutes. They had some great cuts. They hit some shots. They've got to get to that level because they have an ability to play really good offensive basketball, even with Chris not in there.
No, they will. There's a lot of talent on this team. Well, they really have – they're good players out there. The full team, even though we don't have the height, they have the skill needed to finish this game. They just need to get their mind into the game.
Yeah, and Pate hit a 3 early, but she hasn't hit a couple. That would be big. I really look at Bacon. She's really playing well out there. I would say get her involved more. Maybe she could be the spark. She's shooting a lot better for the Trojans, but there's a lot of places they can go. Buchanan's at the 3. Skakalosi can get scoring. Kelsey Martin was big late in that fourth quarter. The senior could step up in her final home game.
Yeah.
So
we've been talking a lot about the offense, but let's talk about the defense for a second. So what Casa Grande is doing is they're playing out wide, and and then they'll go in and pass it out wide right away.
We do have we have breaking news. Let's see.
30% though.
This is a pretty big deal. According to Laura's weather app, at 4 a.m., it will be 32 degrees, and there is a 30% chance that it will snow. That's almost a big deal as this. And then at 5 a.m., there's supposed to be freezing rain, a 50% chance. So who knows? Maybe that'll happen.
We'll see. Maybe not. I don't know. It's been forever since it's snowed in Petaluma.
Well, I think one thing that the Trojans would hope is that it might start snowing turnovers for them on the defensive end. The Gauchos have really,
an analogy.
The Gauchos have really been pushing it out wide, spreading the floor, as you said. trying to open it up inside, but the Trojans done a great job with that zone defense. I think the one thing that they've always done well, force turnovers, get out in transition. That can really help their offense. And spreading it out like that, you can start to read some passes. Gauchos will start to telegraph stuff, especially if they start struggling. So I think that's something to look for.
Well, the main thing is when the Gauchos drive in, they bring in all of our zone defense. We converge on the key. But they know that we're doing that, and they stay out wide.
Right.
And as soon as they see us break in to try and maybe stop a layup, they'll just go right the other direction and they get an open three. And so our outside defenders need to be able to notice that and not overcommit to leave 2 men open.
It's absolutely a game of cat and mouse. Coach Ratchet does such a great job. We'll see what adjustments he makes, but I definitely think Dan Sack, the Gauchos coach, who's also relatively new, done a really good job with this Gauchos team. They're ace-seeded for a reason. I think it feels like Trojans might want to go on a little bit of a run here. As long as this game is a one-possession game late, they have to be the favorites the way they've sowed poise and played in close games.
Which they've done before, so they can. We know they can do it.
1-2 overtime games, but they almost all other games against Annalee, against Sonoma, against Northgate, against Pioneer. It's been close. It's come down to the last possessions, and every time they've found ways to pull it out. They always seem to have that late game poise, so we'll see if they do it this time.
All they got to do is just bring the intensity back, and they should be able to have a handle on this game.
We're 2 minutes away from the start of the second half, so stick right around. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Feel free to comment on the live chat. And have not mentioned, the winner of this game will likely be facing Miramonte on Friday night in the NCS quarterfinals. The loser goes home. Miramonte ranked 25th in the state by Max Preps. That's there out of Moraga. They're an absolute powerhouse, the 1 seed in NCS. It's going to be pretty hard to beat them. This is probably the second to last. This is the last game for one team and the second to last game for the other, but the victory tonight's going to be so much, notwithstanding that.
Exactly. Which, that's really hard, but this is definitely a history for our high school.
Yep.
So whether or not they win or lose tonight, they can feel complacent in that they've done something that no other team's been able to do for a while.
And when Casa and Petaluma play against each other, it's always so big. NCS playoffs, that's going to make it even bigger.
Which is why you can see such a packed gym in here.
Yes.
Not the actual student section, but the students are down way over there by our baseline, and they're packed in over there.
Yeah, they are. You'll maybe show them a little later.
You can see it slightly off camera to the left.
So with 1 minute, do want to mention this is probably our final winter sports live stream. You can check out all the winter sports stuff on our YouTube channel. We got wrestling won the SCL championship on Saturday. We got all the boys and girls basketball games up there. We got some girls soccer, boys soccer
highlights.
Yeah. But spring sports are starting up. The boys baseball team, I actually should check if they won. They were playing Drake today in their first game. So we'll see if they got a victory. But we're going to be doing some varsity boys baseball live streams. Our first one is 2 weeks from Saturday, along with the varsity softball team. And both teams, I feel like, absolutely have a shot to win the SCL title. So don't miss those. We have select varsity boys and varsity girls, or varsity baseball and varsity softball games throughout the season. They'll be announced on our Trojan Live channel when we go live. And if you subscribe to the channel,
subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you never miss a single video or upload that we put on there.
So highly recommend that. With spring sports starting up, so many spring sports, it's going to be a lot of excitement. Right now, all the eyes on here. What adjustments do the Trojans made? What adjustments did the Gauchos made? Can Petaluma get their stagnant offense going? We'll see. No Jaden Chris there. If you're just joining us, she was injured in the first game, a leg injury against Sonoma Valley. It was the injury, same leg, same injury, they believe, that caused her to miss 15 games last year. She hurt in varsity volleyball last year. She just headed to got a checkup today, so we'll certainly give you an update and see if she'll be available, if she's if it's nothing to be worried about, she could be available Friday if the Trojans win, or at least for the varsity softball season. Martin's jumper was open. It can't hit.
It looked like before that when Martin was driving in, there was a little charge against her. But it looks like the refs just let it go.
But the offensive board, and Pate hits the huge three. That should give the Trojans confidence. That is big. Pate hit a three that opened up since early.
Is flying the Trojan flag over there.
Yes, they are. They're getting into it. Lead cut back down to 6. Actually called it 2. Foot on the line.
Very good, strong defense there, but not enough.
Yeah, and you wonder if the Gauchos are just going to try to make it the Mia Kane show. She's such a force, and she's going up against a smaller and less skilled defensively Erica. 21-13, 8-point lead for the Gauchos. Gauchos have led by as much as 9. Trojans have not led in this one. First round of the NCS playoffs.
Erica's on a little bit of a cold
Egg
streak right now. Hasn't been able to put something in a little while.
Yeah, and you just need her to find her shot. Trojans need her so badly, leading score. Foul called there, not on the shot, on the drive by Sofia Gardia, the 5'4" freshman guard. So we wonder if the Gauchos will continue to space the floor like we were talking about at halftime. They do fire up a 3, and the bounce is good by Gardia. Foot also on the line, so they'll call it a 2, but the biggest lead of the game for Casa. It's now 10, and there's not a lot of energy right now in this gym.
Before we get mentioned, Annika Schmid now on camera.
Yes, thank you, Annika. Just trying to get it into Martin. She was open, but the Gauchos a step ahead. They read it well. Can't telegraph passes that easily. The Gauchos have been ready all night for that. Forced a lot of turnovers. Jumper by Martin is short.
Kept in bounds.
Trojans would love to get some more offensive rebounds. It stays Trojan ball. It just feels like need to hit a couple shots. Paid it the long jumper. If they can just get going, it will start to snowball the other way, and they'll start to get going. But Coach Ratchin not too happy with the offense so far. Calls a timeout here. So see a couple adjustments there. I think Gaucho's trying to go inside to Kane. Saw Trojans try a 3 so far, but it is hard to say right now what exactly plays you want to run for the offense that will really get everyone into a rhythm.
Exactly, and we have no idea what we're going to see yet in the second half. So it's still right now we're just trying to figure out what plays we want to run. Coach Ratchin maybe has an idea of a couple in his mind right now, but he's not entirely sure on which one is the best to go with just now.
And I think it's key to get everyone involved. You get these fans, get the student section involved. Trojans need to use this home court advantage. They've been really good here at home. They've only lost 2 games all season long at home, and those are both early in the season to Novato and Rancho Cotati. Use this advantage that they have, especially with all the students. Temple from downtown.
With a nice open 3.
That's great ball movement, moving the zone defense to the other side. A good cross-court pass, but it wasn't telegraphed. It was safe, and the three-pointer is hit. Temple not a huge shooter, but the senior stepping up in her final game here, likely from the PHS gym. Great ball movement again by the Gauchos. Open 3 won't fall. An offensive board pulled down by the Gauchos. They've gotten a couple of those. Without Kristen there, you don't have his same rebounding prowess. Great job keeping it in by Dedrickson. And the drive to the rack. The foul is called on Gardia's drive. Be the first team foul here on the Trojans. And the freshman 5'4" guard will head to the line. And mentioned there's some youth on the Gauchos, but they certainly haven't looked afraid. And late in the season now, you're barely a freshman if you've played the whole year. Best win of the season, couple top wins of the season for Casa. They beat Rancho 76-57. Rancho finished 4th in SCL. They also beat Sonoma Valley in the Trojans League 38-32 in a non-league game. So Gardia splits the pair there, and the lead is back out to 7. Trojans have gotten it close as 3. Eric had one go in and out that would have tied it up in the second. And the Trojans had their best offensive input of the night.
Trojans are also doing some very long straight bullet passes, which are a little risky right now, especially with the pressure that Casa's putting on us before we reach the halfway mark.
Often not smart. Scacalosi, there's too much traffic in there. Into Dedrickson and Kane, really guarding that paint. It's been a little bit taste of their own medicine. There hasn't been a lot of room to move inside that paint or anywhere to go. Kakalosi somehow can't force the jump. Great job by Era Cat to strip it away. Metro Trojans need to force some turnovers. That could really help their offense get going. Great pass into Era Cat. How is that not a foul? Gosh, I don't know. State Trojan ball nonetheless. 4:55 left to go here in the third. Win or go home. Trojans have not lost all the way since 2017. It was a 55-44 loss to Rancho Cotati on December 29th. It's been a long time, hasn't it, Matthew, since this team has lost?
It has been a very long time.
Nonetheless, they've found ways to come back. They battled back from behind, including against Sonoma Valley.
Nicole Casa just couldn't get control of it right there.
Yeah, they've had some sticky finger or
Butterfingers?
Butterfingers, that was the word I was looking for. Thank you tonight.
Different type of candy.
Yes. And it's just been Kate inside. She's so good. And she's been such an impact in this one. Did not play when the Trojans faced them back in December. And the difference of putting Kane and having Chris down, I think, has been so huge to both of these teams. And it's really allowed the Gauchos an answer inside. You wonder if they should start double teaming Casa Grande or Mia Kane a little bit more, the captain. She's doing everything offensively, especially the way the Gauchos are not shooting well otherwise.
Hard time is when we double team them, that leaves a man out wide to be open, and you know that they're going to try and take those three, so we run the risk of getting them up 3 more.
Buchanan, the sophomore, enters. She's a good three-point shooter. Trojans might need that trailing by 10 here, but certainly no rush. Plenty of time, 12 more minutes left in this one. That ball tipped. 13 seconds left on the shot clock. State Trojan ball. Trojans would like to get to the line. Did a good job in the first half of doing that early, but sort of went away from that late, and they were in the bonus, but didn't get some free trips to the line. Missed a couple free throws as well. Only one team foul on both. Laser pass into Era Cat. Those are some of those laser passes from Costa that are smart and can be really effective for the defense, leave you grasping at straws.
See, Era Cat able to draw the foul again.
The best place for a player to earn confidence is at the line. Something Era Cat needs. They really need it right now. She's been frustrated, missed a couple shots. She hits the first. Calm and confident for the leading scorer for the Trojans. Saw JV last year and on varsity this year, the 5'6" small forward. Splits the pair. Trojans haven't pulled down a lot of offensive rebounds either, and that has not helped offensively. Just 5 points so far in this third quarter. Great instincts by Buchanan to get the steal, and now you can run. Smartly pulls back, though. Didn't have numbers there. State Trojan ball. Gauchos will make a substitution. Bella Blue will enter for the first time, and another freshman. And without Chris, you have all that size in there for the Gauchos, and it's pretty rare to see the Trojans at a size deficit. But that's been the case. The Gauchos have been the team that's been better in the paint, and Trojans have had to look elsewhere, and that's so hard offensively because that's really where the Trojans like to function, in that purple zone. Kick to Buchanan. It was open, just didn't take the three.
She almost went up for that right there.
Oh, they got to give it to her more. She hits a three, cuts the lead to 6. Pate has 8 points. She's hit 2 threes, her other 1 foot on the line. And when they've got it inside, Pate's gotten some open looks. And she will take those shots with full confidence. She's one of the more confident shooting players on the Trojans, and she shot best. That 3 off the mark. Loose ball battle, and Pate able to pull it down, averaging 2 rebounds per game. She's a hard physical player, the point guard and junior secondary captain for the Trojans. Now, not a great pass, and Era Cat diving on the ground trying to save it. But
she just couldn't get her hand on that ball, but
yeah, that
was a hard ball to control.
That pass isn't smart. It's too forced in there to Era Cat. That was something they sometimes...
If you're going to force it in there, it's got to be good control.
Sometimes they did that with Jade and Chris, where they just threw it in there, and it was ill-advised with a lot of traffic in there, and results in turnovers. Trojans, too many turnovers tonight, and that's really not helped offensively. Got to get some shots again, Kane, but this time she misses the easy lay-in. And a jump ball there. Great job by Buchanan to get on the ground. Arrow will point towards the Trojans. 2:38 left to go. First round of the NCS playoffs here live from the PHS gym on Trojan Live. It's the rematch of the Egg Bowl. Casa won the first one, 43-31. The Gauchos spoke it out. in a full-packed gym for this one. Lots of energy on both sides. Students on both sides. This is a big deal. And stolen away. Buchanan couldn't hold on. Jennifer Loyo, a junior who just entered with the steal. Emily Boulot in there as well. Gauchos have made some changes. Kane's starting to struggle, but you can't give her second chances. She's just too talented. And she finishes it, and the foul, the senior.
Really not happy right now.
Yeah, and Kane got the inside leverage there. Couldn't hit, but she was able to get inside on Ericat.
Ericat was just reaching right over, and nothing she could have done.
Yeah, Trojans need to crash the boards right more, and they're not used to doing that because their size just helps them so much as Costa steps on the baseline. It really
Costa
helped.
just tried to force her way through, and there was no room for her to go.
And the key here, Trojans just haven't been able to get a run together. The offense has been a little better. They've hit some jumpers, hit some threes, had some good looks, but haven't gone into a full-on rhythm where the offense is good and this gym really wakes up and they put a run together. And we said they have to do that to close this deficit, which has just been stuck around 6 to 10 points for the last quarter and a half. 3 ball off the mark. And the Gauchos are giving the Trojans favors. They haven't done a whole lot offensively besides the Mia Kane show. Little press here, and the press has been effective for the Gauchos. It's helped unnerve the Trojans. There's some confidence by Ericat. She wasn't afraid there. She drove with confidence like nothing before happens.
That was a beautiful drive right in.
Yeah, that's what they need from her. She has to contribute to offensively. Gauchos 3 off the mark. Oh, they pull down another.
You saw the
Gaucho
strategy all night right there. Drive in, then go out wide.
Travel, though, on Boulard. And Chris has such a huge wingspan with her 5'11", tallest player in SCL, always going to be one of the tallest players on the court. She's so advantageous to pull down rebounds. Foul called there. It's a dangerous pass into Pate. Foul on Loyo. 13 foul on the Gauchos. Without Chris, the boards have been much more of a struggle, and you know the Trojans they knew Chris wasn't going to be there, and they made some adjustments, and you've seen that especially offensively, but they knew that was going to be a struggle, and especially having Kane in there when they didn't play her before. Inside to Catarazzoli, and I call the foul. That was really good passing. If you're going to pass it that quick and get into that rhythm, it's not going to be televised.
And a risky pass like that up high, where normally you'd want Jane Chris height right there, but you didn't have it.
Catarazzoli still able to haul it in, get to the line, and talked about hitting her free throws. This gym gets eerily silent. Catarazzoli misses the first. The Trojans, you can tell, have felt the moment a little bit. They're 55% free throw shooters from the line, but improvement over last year's 50%, but they have struggled a little bit from the charity stripe. Splits the pair. Lead cut down to 5 here. Really feels like if the Trojans can string together a couple more shots, hit a couple more baskets, this could really get this gym going and really raise their confidence. It's all a mental game. It's what the Trojans have dealt with this season. Hills and valleys throughout almost seemingly every game. And there's always going to be some hills, always going to be some valleys. But can you bounce back, finish on a hill, and have more hills than valleys? It was a very slow start for them, but they bounced back. Pekin almost lost it.
Was able to hold on to that. That was very good.
To Ericat. Oh, she just went right around Sullivan. Unable to finish, but the offensive board, and she'll head to the line. I'm sorry, non-shooting foul. A 14 foul on the Gauchos. Timeout, Dan Sack.
Right now, the Gauchos are up by 5 points, and that's better than what it used to be, so yeah.
Yeah, just hanging around there. You got the Trojan ball here with the 9.9 second differential, and the end of quarters and halves are so key. That was the key in the Trojans. Lost to Casa. Gaucho game was tied. It was back and forth. Gauchos hit a banked in 3 at the buzzer. It gave them a 3-point lead. That gave them all the momentum going into the fourth. Trojans get sick. Another basket here. Get a stop. Cut it to a single possession lead. The way the Gauchos have almost controlled this game, that would be so key to their momentum and really put the pressure on the higher-seeded favorite Gauchos who are a lot younger and are certainly going to feel the pressure.
And that's exactly what Coach Ratchen's probably telling the girls right now. Just get one more and keep the pressure on.
Trojans need to keep that confidence that they've got. They're playing better. The offense starting to get into a rhythm.
Ericat's attitude is way up right now because you can tell by the confidence she had on that one drive to the baseline.
And Pate's hit a couple shots as well. That's been big for the Trojans. The junior averaging 6 points per game and already well above that average. Can you get a new battery for that?
13 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, Jamie. Catarazzoli has nowhere to go. And a timeout by Ratchin. She was trapped. And Coach Ratchin, who has 4 timeouts in his pocket, decided it would be best to just take the timeout so far here. And nerves are going to become such a big factor, as we mentioned. But it feels like if the Trojans can keep the ball out of Mia Kane's hands, Gauchos don't have a lot of offense at all.
No, because what you see their offense do is they just throw it up there, and they try to make it 3, but a lot of time they're off target.
We'll see.
But then if Kane gets the ball, she's on target all the time.
I haven't seen a lot from Hannah Sullivan, which is the other senior captain for the Gauchos. She can be a force. And Dedrickson, who also has a lot of size, 5'11" inside, you think she might be able to provide something in there for the Gauchos, but they haven't really looked there. Clearly the game plan was Mia Kane, and they haven't looked a whole lot elsewhere. All right, 24.7 left. There is a 13-second differential, shot clock and game clock. And a great steal by Merwin. Lays it in. Oh, that was huge for the Gauchos.
Trojans got 14 seconds to take it up court.
Get the lead back up to 7. Turnovers have been huge for the Gauchos to help.
They're just not able to get past the half right there. They're going to have to put up a long shot right here. Got to put it up.
Eric and it just
right off mark.
Boy, she's had some good looks.
Very close.
Some just haven't fallen for them. Well, a 7-point deficit. The Trojans are certainly in striking range. All they need is one run here, and they have a shot to get their first NCS playoff victory in 7 years.
Now, what you saw right there was the Gauchos completely read the pass right there, and they were able to make the steal and have a single one-on-one drive down court.
This would mean so much to both these programs. Get an NCS playoff win against your program. Say who's boss in Petaluma. Get your bragging rights and really propel the teams forward and their programs. Get to play a powerhouse in Miramonte, even if you're probably not going to win on Friday night, get to the quarterfinals. It means a lot for both these teams. These final 8 moments are vital to the direction of these programs for the next 10 years. These are going to be 8 minutes we're going to remember.
We will definitely remember these minutes, and this is definitely going down in the crosstown rivalry history.
A pleasure to bring it to you live here. If you missed any of the game, you can always go back on the YouTube channel and watch it in completion. Don't forget to stay tuned after the game. We will have interviews, hopefully in a Trojan victory. They're a lot more fun that way. It will be Gaucho ball here to start the 4th quarter. 14 fouls on the Gauchos, only 2 team fouls on the Trojans. However, that could become an issue if the Trojans have to foul if they're trailing late. Totally out of control was Merwin. She somehow got it out to Dedrickson. He's played a lot out at the top of the key. Great pass into Kane, but Costa a step ahead as she's been all night defensively. Been pretty cold offensively, though. Ericat turning, twisting, getting through Gauchos and getting to the line. And she just plays with confidence. She plays like she's boss out there, and she definitely's got her confidence back. Getting to the line would be huge for the Trojans here and putting together a run, and she can absolutely put a personal run together.
I know she definitely can, and that's something the Trojans need right now.
Trojan defense has been good all season long as it's been here tonight, averaging 38.5% point per game, 46 points per game on the offensive end. But they've been a little colder of late, obviously without Chris. A huge factor for their offense. Kick the ball ruled on Catarazzoli in there is getting a fair amount of playing time. In there with Pate, Ericat, Cassidy Bacon, who's played well. And Nicole Costa. Marn will re-enter. Remember how well she played on Friday night in the LCL Tournament Championship game. The senior plays well in big moments. She could be someone to look for. Gauchos have to get it in. Merwin just got it in before 5 seconds. Out of control, and yet it falls. Mia Kane doing everything. I don't have a stat on her, but she absolutely has to be in double digits at this point. think she has about half of the Gauchos' points, probably around 15. She has been nearly unstoppable when they've gone to her, and it's been surprising that they've really not totally just relied on her the way she is. Block, but
Ericat's right there in the middle, put her right back up.
Great alert job there, and that shows that an extra pass would have been helpful, but nonetheless, right place, right time. Lead cut back down to 6. We've sort of gone back and forth here for the last couple minutes between 6 and 8 points. Can the Trojans cut it down more? Casa, I think, got a slight piece of that with her great instincts. She is such a good blocker. Jumper is off the mark from Grande. Casa averaging almost 2 blocks per game, which is certainly a lot. Had a 6 blocks on her senior night. She is just everywhere on the defensive end. 6:36 left in this one. Warriors really late to this thriller. A little disappointed, but at least you're here now for this thrilling finale. Martin back out to Ericat. Good pump fake, but wonder if the Trojans want to hit some threes. Aggressive on the ground. Foul on the Gauchos. 6-team foul. That's a great effort by both. They are leaving both of these teams leaving it all out there, and I know they don't like each other either.
No, I don't know why Casa's drawing the foul right now. I mean, they don't need to be fouling us. So
it's 6-team foul.
Decision on their behalf.
Trojans are in the bonus on the next one. That's just 2 forced into Ericat. They've been doing that a lot, and that's the vocal point of their offense. But you can't just force it in there. You gotta find other ways to go. Oh, Gardia way off on that 3. Boy, have they struggled, but Kane pulls down the offensive board. That doesn't fall. Somehow Martin couldn't get it, but it falls.
Nicole Casa able to come in from the back and grab it. Oh, long pass. That was risky right there. Don't know why we're trying to put those up. We just need to take it in.
A couple of the nerves. Rejection there by Dedrickson. Trojans need to run more of the shot clock. They don't need to take shots with 18 left.
Kelsey Martin didn't even have the shot right there. I wonder why she put up instead of passing right out to Nicole.
Swing it around. Be patient. Find your shot. There's still no rush. They're only down 6. Pate wide open.
Oh, just in and out.
Halfway down. Gosh, there's been about 5 shots tonight like that for the Trojans that have been halfway down and just haven't gone. It's been a couple on the Gaucho end, but boy, would have that been huge. Pate's hit those all night. Wide open, and it just didn't go. And now Kane on the other end will get to the line. Wow. Trojan student section making some noise, but Kane gets the roll. Senior, one of her final games in that Gaucho jersey, has been so vital to their program, and their success over the last 5 years have been the dominant girls basketball program in Petaluma. The Trojans have been through a rebuilding process, but they're back now, SCL champions.
We're into the 1-1 now.
Yes, we are. We talked about it. Gauchos have been really sloppy with that. If the Trojans can hit their 3 throws from the line, they are going to absolutely hang around.
This game close again?
Ericat starting to shoot better from the line, not jinxing anything. She does sink the first. Knock on wood, or whatever our table is. That didn't work. She splits the pair. Some second chances.
I think we all know
that's
who
been
to blame
best
for
offense so far. Oh, that's great ball movement, but Casa is just better. Oh, my. We are going to miss Nicole Casa. She's so fun to watch. Kane seemingly had easy layups tonight, the way the ball movement's been spectacular at points, but Costa save the day. So good defensively. Can't stop saying it. Intuition, you can't count. There she is again, batting it away. 12 seconds left on the shot clock.
5:17 left in the quarter.
Still, you can't rush here for the Trojans. There's plenty of time. All you need is a couple shots, and you know the Gauchos are going to field if you head to the line. Remember, the Trojans were trailing by 5. 1:30 left in the SCL Tournament Championship game. They forced it to overtime. Pulled out a win.
No.
That's not what you need to give, especially easy layup. That's a smart foul by Bacon there to make Merwin earn it from the line. And you're okay with those fouls racking up a little bit more in case you need to go to the bonus late and foul the Gauchos. Oh, except they're going to rule it an intentional. So that's going to mean they're going to get the ball and the foul. That was just a hard foul on my mind, but that's what the refs give it.
Yeah, it didn't look coordinated at all. It was just like an ugly, sloppy foul.
Yeah, Coach Ratchin was not happy with the refs. He's still questioning it. That wouldn't have happened anyways, as it counted if it gone in. It hit the top of the backboard. What a great job, though, head coach John Ratchon has done. And many will return. We only lost 2 seniors from last year. Obviously, Costa's a big loss. Same with Martin and Temple. Oh, they're going to give a technical to Coach Ratchon. That is not good at all. He's clearly frustrated in this big moment. And it's been a frustrating night offensively. That's going to give you a couple extra, 2 more extra free throws for Merwin. I'm not sure she's ever going to be able to hit them. Student section doing their best.
Swapping out for Kane.
Yeah, so Kane now will get to take the technical 3 throws, the best 3-throw shooter. Appreciate everyone tuning in. 16 viewers if you were to turn in. And Kane is a much better 3-throw shooter. Oh, that could hurt. That could be one to remember. That technical foul, the way this game has been close. And the Gauchos will get the ball as well.
Gauchos up 9 points now with 5:03 left on the scoreboard.
Coach Ratchon is relaxed, but obviously something there talking. Frustrated with the intentional foul, and it cost them. Lead back up to 9 now. 5:03 left. First round of the NCS playoff game. This has been tight throughout. Gauchos have led by as much as 10. Coach Ratchon's having a further conversation with the ref. Has to be careful here.
Already has 1 tentacle. We don't need our
yeah,
coach out of here.
a second and he's gone. So he goes to sit on the other end of the bench to make sure he's not going to make a mistake. But certainly done a great job. He wants this so much for the girls. They reset the shot clock there, so Gauchos have a fresh 35. Back into Kane, and foul called on Weinberg. Kane has just been the stronger player.
They cannot let Kane turn.
Yeah,
when they let Kane turn, they're always going to give her the foul because they're reaching over her back.
You can't even let her force it to get to her. You got to find other players.
You got to say straight up.
Appreciate Lombard Genie tuning in. Kane splits the pair, but gets her own offensive board and lays it in. Biggest lead of the game for Gauchos of 12, and suddenly Casa just had a 6-point possession there. Oh my goodness. Right after Eric
You can see the devastation in Coach Ratchon's face.
Right after Pate at one go in and out to get it down to 3. Eric Cat's going to head right back to the line, but suddenly you're facing a surmountable deficit here. It's not going to be easy. Fortunately, Kane has just been a force, and the Trojans have not done a good job double teaming her, forcing her to get it to other players. Up 17 viewers, our final winter sports live stream from this packed gym. Barely a seat to be had here. Tons of supporters on both sides, students on both sides. Trojans need an offensive board. They get one from Skakalosi. Then Casa forces the jump. Arrow will stay Trojan ball.
You've seen Eric Hat really split the pair a lot tonight.
Yeah, and the Trojans have struggled a little bit from the free throw line. I think they felt the nerves, and it was surprising because they had such a big scene at the Hale Pavilion, the JC that fills about 500 people. There was probably about 300 there, about 400 by the end of the game with a boys game after, and it was really packed gym. The Trojans didn't feel the nerves late there as a ticky-tack foul called, and the Trojans are going to get another trip to the last thing you want by the Gauchos.
No, and in a close game like this, you can't miss those free throws.
Yeah, but now the Trojans need to get all that out of the head, and they have to hit them, and Bacon's played really well, the junior. Cuts the lead back down to 10, and Dan Sack looking furious. He's the one talking to the ref now.
One more will put us into the single digits.
Casa wants them Trojans take as long as possible on their possessions. That clock becomes ticking. Eric had almost had another offensive board there. They haven't been able to get that all night long, though. That's been key. Trojans need stops now. Little room for air.
One amazing block by Nicole Casa.
And Costa trying to wake everyone up. Another ferocious block. She's been special again, the defensive end, but maybe she has a shot offensively. She had a huge shot that cut it to 3 with a minute left on Friday night. It references that so much, but that proved the Trojans could win without Jaden Christ in a big moment. They came back there. They were never down by 10, but it's the first time for everything. Looked like the perfect pass that came, but the Trojans I've been a
Eric Cat
step
was just
ahead
right
at the telegraph
there to
pass.
grab it.
Yeah, I've been really good in that facet of the game. It's been the post-ins that have been an issue. No foul called. Scacalosi pulls it back down, but the arrow points towards the Gauchos. All right, thought it did. We'll stay Trojan ball. Temple, the senior, will re-enter, playing likely her last minutes here at the PHS gym. Bacon takes a seat. Now the refs having a further conversation. It's not been the best ref game tonight. It is Casa ball. It's been some questionable calls, but that technical foul felt like a huge momentum shift there. And that overall 6-point possession a couple minutes ago. Trojans offense has been getting a little better. Back to Kane. No, Gauchos hit 2 threes in that first quarter. They've done nothing since from behind the arc, and really no one has besides Kane. Merwin travels, the freshman. And if you're going to have to foul in a couple minutes, you know Merwin missed a couple.
Oh, that was just a bad ball in.
And just forced the Gauchos of
You could tell Eric did not want that pass right there.
Yeah, Acosta, not a smart pass. Gauchos' press has been good. It's forced turnovers. Anyone but Kane, though, is forced to travel. Anyone but their ball in their hands. And you want the Gauchos to put quick shots. Time starts to get at a premium, but there's Kane.
Back up to a 12-point lead.
Lead back up to 12. Trojans can't force anything, but there's no time. And the Gauchos foul again. That's going to help. More trips to the line. The Trojans are now in the double bonus. So they'll automatically get 2.
Sack not happy right now with all the tick-tack fouls the Gauchos are making.
Mentioned the Gauchos have not played well in close games. They've lost nearly all of their close games this year. The Trojans nearly the opposite. They found ways to win. They're 20-2 in their last 22 games. They've had 15 straight games. They were undefeated SCL champions, won the SCL tournament. It was only early season losses where they struggled a little bit more, including to Casa, where they had some struggles and weren't able to finish. But since then, they've always found a way. This is certainly the toughest task, though. But in their biggest game, and again, they split the pair. They can't afford that.
They split the pair the last 7 times at the free throw
they've
line.
left about 12 points, I think, at the line, and that can be a difference. Casa shot better.
When you look at the score right now, that matters.
Everything has been crucial in this low-scoring affair. You can see the Gauchos' ball movement. They're taking their time now. Foul called, or no, travel on Merwin. So Trojan ball, trailing by 11, 2:44. Coach Ratchin still has 3 timeouts when he wants to use them. Pates hit a couple shots. She has 8 points, second in scoring today. Wonder if you go or more. Trojans going to use some threes. Eric got
double teamed and had no option.
Yeah, just in some pressure.
Not really.
And lost it again. Can't afford turnovers late here.
Watch the swing wide.
Yeah, and it's been great patience by the Gauchos all evening long, swinging it around, even when they haven't hit their shots.
No, they're just
looked
running
like a
down the
poised
shot
team.
clock. Right up to
find
McCain.
Kane again.
There's McCain right in the center.
13-point lead, biggest lead of the game. 2:05 left here. And time really running out on the Trojans.
Trojans cannot waste time right here in backcourt. They got to move it up, and they got to get it in.
Timeout, Coach Ratchin, and they need to get something going and in
Every
a
second
hurry.
now is valuable time.
Griffin Epstein here, and
Matthew Kalemba.
live from the PHS gym, rematch of the Egg Bowl, but something just hasn't clicked tonight for the Trojans offensively, and obviously without Chris was big. They cut it down to 6, but I think it's that we thought there might be one moment, one point where maybe one team loses its cool. It's the difference, and unfortunately it might have been that Trojans, that 6-point possession that they got, getting the shot, getting on the fast break after the Trojans had almost cut it to 3, had it to the line. Coach Ratchin was assessed the technical, hit 2 free throws, and then Kane on the resulting possession due to the technical got the and 1, converted that, so they had a 5-point possession.
6-point.
It was 5 points. That really turned it around. I thought, because it felt like the Trojans had some momentum in the last quarter or so. They'd been a little bit better offensively.
They have, but they just got behind that first half, and they haven't been able to get out over that.
Yeah, and you wanted a quick start, something they've struggled with, and unfortunately that didn't happen. Casa's controlled this entire game. They've looked confident. They've looked poised, and you knew if you could get it close at the end, the pressure would be on, I think, even more for the Gauchos than the Trojans. But right now, the Trojans need a couple shots to mount the pressure back on the east side rival school. It's been moved by Scacalosi. She'll head to the line for 2. Trojans now in the double bonus for remainder of this game. Next foul on the Trojans, and the Gauchos will be in the 1-1. Scacalosi had a big game against Casa, but she's been pretty quiet here. Hasn't provided that same spark. This moment, maybe it's been a little bit too big. The free throw shooting has been a headache. Second for the junior. She misses both. Tipped. Marin pulls it down. Totally out of control, though. She just forced it there. She panicked. They know they have to score, but just throwing shots up at will just is not going to work. Great pass to Merwin. Gardia's missed a whole bunch of threes. Not confident. Back to Merwin. She can't hold on. The freshman. That's 2 freshmen out there in this big moment. And they've held their poise enough tonight.
What the Trojans need right now is to hit 3 or 4 3-pointers to put the game into maybe overtime.
Yeah, and at this point, you can't force it, but you got to hit some threes.
But you need to have the passing down in order to get there.
You can just see the panic right now. Pate didn't take that shot, and that was her shot to take. They are feeling this moment. They aren't accustomed to losing. Costa fires away. Offensive board, Scacalosi. She finishes in the foul.
There's the 3-point play that we need.
Yeah, last thing you want if you're Casa to give 3 points at the line here. 1:01 left, though. Does the Trojans start fouling Casa? I think you do.
Yeah, that's the one thing, but then again, you got to think if McCain takes it.
Gauchos are going to get their best free throw shooters in, but remember, Merwin missed 2, and as long as it's not Kane, the Gauchos have missed some free throws. Kane's been automatic, though, the senior captain from the line, so don't want her. Scacalosi hits some 3 throws now. You wish she had some earlier.
Back to a 10-point lead.
Trojans have forced some turnovers as well. You don't want to foul Kane. They've trapped her now. Gauchos have to get it over. They've got 1 second. They do not get or travel. They were gonna. I don't think they're gonna get it over anyway.
Very ticky-tacky there.
Travel. So that was big. Gets the Trojan ball back. Coach Ratchin uses another timeout, and
you see that the Gauchos here are probably going to go for the foul to keep it to a 2-point play.
I don't know about that. I think they do want to run time.
They might run time, so but they probably don't want to risk the chance of multiple threes.
Not yet. I think that could certainly be something if the game gets tighter. Yeah. But they certainly would run them off the 3-point line, and you don't foul if you're the Gauchos. As long as I think you don't self-deconstruct here and make turnovers, which is what Sonoma did a little. They had a key turnover late that really saved the game on Friday. They're probably going to be able to pull out this game. But the Trojans' press can be good. They force a lot of turnovers. And the Trojans are going to have to hit their free throws if they have a shot, if they get to the line.
Which has been very tough all night for the Trojans because they are shooting roughly 75% from that line.
Timeout-wise, Trojans have 2 left if they want to use them. Casa just 1 left. Casa just 1 left if they need to use one, if they have trouble with an inbounds play. But they've looked the more experienced team, even though they're not. Great inbounds play to Temple. That is how you draw it up. Wish you had seen more of those great cuts. And they will foul exactly the person you want to foul in Trinity Merwin, who missed 2 earlier. She'll have a 1-1. They've cut it down to 8. And the pressure is on now here. Think of Casa fans saying the broomsticks are out. Gauchos looking for an Egg Bowl sweep and a sweet SCL win. They're going to have to make 3 throws. Offensive board pulled down. Foul Merwin again. If you're the Trojans, they don't. Instead, they get the shot off.
And that's going to put the game in.
Yeah, that looks like curtains. Oh, Merwin misses the 3 throw. Should have been a great chance for the Trojans. Now they need to get the ball over as Martin just breaks the timeline. She's stripped. Gaucho ball. That's going to do it. Casa Grande is going to come into this Petaluma High gym and get a remarkable victory. Scacalosi gets the steal. She's fouled. She'll get 2 at the line here. Gauchos had a chance after Merwin got the 3 throw. Could have headed the other way and certainly felt like they would have had a good opportunity to score. They've played a little bit better offensively late here, but not enough. And you're going to remember those missed 3 throws And that 5-point play, I think, really the difference.
Those free throws
are
going to stick with this team now because that's what led to them not being able to catch up with the Gauchos.
For next year, we mentioned it, only lose 3 seniors, returned 8 players this year. They're going to get 9 next year, and the improvement we saw from last year to this year, if they can improve again by that same level.
If they can make the free throws that they missed in this game next year, they're going to look very good.
They're going to be a force to be reckoned with, no doubt. Stays Trojan ball there on the out of bounds. They can throw up a 3 here, cut it down to a 2-possession game. Temple will throw it up, lead cut down to 7. Got a foul again here, as quick as possible. And those are just precious seconds going off, and now that will do it. Casa Grande will get a victory. They move on to the NCS quarterfinals, and they sweep the Egg Bowl. Final score, Casa Grande 45, Petaluma 38. Casa Grande just too much here tonight. A couple key moments, as we mentioned. It was a fun game, but not enough here for the Trojans. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We will be getting interviews. So the Trojans wrap up their season. Gauchos will head to Miramonte on Friday night, and Kane played fantastic. They certainly have an opportunity to do something special at Miramonte, maybe pull off a shocking upset, can hit the mic and all that stuff. We'll see if they can do that. For the Trojans, their season ends, but as much as this game hurts, I think there's going to be some tears shed, especially for the seniors in their final game. This would have been a remarkable victory. Weren't able to do it nonetheless. SCL championship, SCL tournament championship, remarkable accomplishments for the team, and something no one expected. No one expected that they could possibly host an NCS tournament game. That was unthinkable. So they were able to get here, and so much to be proud of. It was great to see the students come out and the community come out, and it was certainly a fun game to have a big Petaluma basketball back on the map, and it was great to see really both schools have been so successful this year. Petaluma girls basketball, that has been so big for both. Stay tuned. We will be grabbing interviews in just a moment with a couple players after this final loss, their final game of the season, to Casa Grande, 45-38. And Mia Kane, she was too good. Gauchos put up 45 points. Trojans only average, giving up 37. And it was really the Kane show. They went to her, and she was just dominant too much of the time. She hit her 3 throws, and the Trojans couldn't get it away from her. But certainly that surge early was big. The Gauchos were ready. The Trojans were on the back foot, and they were always trailing the whole game. And they had some shots that didn't go down early as well. Era Cat had a 3 that would have tied the game, didn't go down. Pate had a game. Pate had 1 that if she had hit. Pate had 1 if she would have hit. That it's not on. Pate had 1 if she would have been able to hit. Got the lead down to 3. Instead, he had that pivotal 5-point play, and it wasn't enough tonight. Lots of hope, though, next year for the Trojans. We'll certainly be covering them again, and it was so much fun. They surpassed expectations. It's a celebration. Should be a celebration of the season, even though the tough loss. They won a remarkable amount of games tonight, and they were able to cut down the nets. Overall, they're going to finish the season 24-5. And how about that Annalee victory? They came back from 11 down. We'll always remember that one, but certainly the Sonoma Valley SCL tournament overtime victory, something we will never soon forget. A remarkable victory, really put this Trojan team on the map. It was a lot of fun. We're going to try to grab an interview in just a moment, so stick right here.
The event conducted today is under the authority of the Northwest Section CIF. All rights are reserved. Individuals other than NCS approved media outlets attending tonight's event may not video the event or using the news to reproduce, upload, post, transmit, and distribute for commercial purposes. Individuals may video this event for their own personal, non-commercial purposes.
All right, Nicole Costa joining us for the final team, the senior captain. Tough game tonight. What do you think was the difference in the end?
They were just making shots. Our first half, our shots just weren't going in, but we had good looks, so pretty much came down to shots.
And Jane and Chris, maybe the leader on offense really runs through, wasn't able to play today with their injury on Friday. How big of an impact was that for you guys?
It's definitely pretty big. It hit the team pretty hard, but when a player goes down, you just got to make up for it. You can't dwell on it.
And even though the loss, this was a packed gym, large student section, how fun was this and how much was it a coronation of all your hard work to get this really huge game?
It was definitely fun, ending our season with Casa, because I've played with some of these girls when I was little, so it's definitely fun playing against them for my last game.
You've had such a big impact on this Petaluma girls basketball program. How do you reflect on your career? This was your last game, unfortunately, tonight.
I think it was a good career. I'll look back on it and think good thoughts.
And finally, you've done this all season again tonight. You had some spectacular blocks. Where do you get that intuition and sense to just be able to swat away shots like it's nothing?
I can definitely jump pretty high, so I think as soon as I see them look up and take their form, I go for it and hope they shoot.
Thank you, Nicole, all season long. A fabulous career for Nicole Costa. She's meant so much and done so much, leading this team to a championship. It's meant a lot for everyone on this team. It's going to be so sad to see her go. But she one of the leaders last year, really took on a new role, defensive this year, stepped back on the offensive end to lead them. And in her final game tonight, here in a Petaluma uniform, obviously emotional for her, but no tears shed. She's one tough player, so good defensively. Probably her basketball career ends, but she's never going to forget this and never forget the SCL championship. She told me first interview of the year, that was the goal. Didn't expect it, but somehow, some way, they were able to pull it out. We are going to try to grab Coach Ratchin and one more player interview. It probably will be a little bit longer as Coach Ratchin gets to address the team for the final time. He's going through a couple more. I'm not going to go through any more comments. Yeah, end of season dinner, obviously. But just a recap on the season. When we look back, they started off a victory over College Park. Not a great team, but looked like hope. Went to the Gold Rush shootout, lost to a powerhouse Colfax team, won the Constellation title. Then they went through their low of the season. It was like, yeah, this team might be what they expect. They could win a couple games in SCL, but probably aren't going to compete for a championship, maybe be a low seed. In NCS, they had a tough loss to Nevada, tough loss to Casa. Mentioned that. Both games, the offense wasn't there. They had where their intensity dropped for quarters and halves. And it looked like at points like last season, they turned the ball over too much, and they clearly had improved. But it started to turn around really after that. St. Vincent's obviously not a top team, but they were trailing at halftime against the Mustangs, and they just dominated offensively in that second half, turned out winning by 18, and then they blew out NBL team Maria Carrillo. They went into the TAMP tournament and played really well. After they lost to Powerhouse California, they beat Marshall and had a really good win over Terra Linda. They blew out Los Lomas, and once they did that, it really felt like the team started to have confidence. They put up 54 points against a good Knights team from the East Bay, and they were clearly starting to mash. The offense was going well. Eric Cat was starting to break out. Chris was trying to be a really force, and they were building the offense around her, and the defense clearly had improved so much. They had the loss to Rancho, but until today, they had not lost. They went through SCL undefeated. They had that 40-36 victory over Healdsburg in overtime in the first SCL game. Came back in that game to pull out a hard-fought victory, and that was the story all season long. Blew out LC and Elmo when they played them, but had that remarkable comeback victory against Annalee, trailed by 13, came back from halftime, and somehow pulled out a victory. That put them on the map. Suddenly, alone in first place, they were going to compete for an SCL title. They continued to prove it, put out gutsy victories against Northgate, against Sonoma, had a 43-42 victory over Pioneer, which everything went wrong there, and a lot of teams would have blown it, especially them. They don't have as much experience as others, but somehow they were able to pull it out. And then dominating defense, especially late in the season over Healdsburg 43-29, dominated LC and Elmo, had a victory at Annalee that clinched the SCL title outright, 47-43. That was a lot of fun. And then the crazy defense of senior night when they honored Temple, Casa, and Martin, who have played their final games. They'll hang up the jerseys tonight. A 25-18 victory, wrapped up the regular season over 33 over Pioneer, and then it was the SCL tournament last week, a really nice victory over Annalee, and they were just better than Annalee. We never would have expected that. They really played well there, and they just frustrated the Tigers so much. They really had some amazing, they cut well, they just played well against the Annalee, and were always a step ahead and defensively dominate, especially with Jaden Chris. They forced them to clog the paint, were so aggressive, forced Annalee to shoot threes, and that's not Annalee's game plan, so that was really hard for the Tigers. And and then, of course, we mentioned it multiple times during the broadcast, against Sonoma Valley in the SCL Tournament Championship game at Hell Pavilion in front of a roaring crowd. It was a lot of fun. You can check out that game on ysn365.com, which has a lot of great high school sports coverage. And they came back. They trailed most of that game like the Casa game, but there they were able to hit. Martin hit the key free throw to send the game to overtime, and then they pulled it out in overtime without Chris, who got injured in the first minute. And what a victory that was to hoist the trophy, undefeated SCL champions and trophy champions. First time they won SCL in 5 years. This is the first time they made NCS. This is 2015. First time in 7 years they hosted a game here in the Petaluma High Gym. So it was really remarkable. 8 returning varsity players have turned this program around, and this was the season of turning. They'd really struggled the last couple years. They were 9-18 last year, 5-7 in SCL, tied for 4th. Didn't make the NCS tournament, didn't even make the SCL tournament. They lost the tiebreaker at 4th, but they found a way to turn things around and had a remarkable 23-6 season, including winning SCL. Banner up in the gym. You'll have the trophy up in the trophy case. Something special, and you credit Costa, but certainly Eric Cat was a breakout player for them. Chris really improved as a player. Martin was good. She scored 24 points against Annalee in that victory, comeback victory at home here. That's probably the best performance any Trojan had. She was unstoppable on fire. Cassidy Bacon really improved over the season, and Angelina Scacalosi and Lily Catavizoli both brought great fire to the Trojans and helped bring up that intensity when they had drops. Nonetheless, looking forward, plenty of things to work on. Trojans didn't ever really play a full, complete game this year. With all those players back, there's so much to work on. They're going to be in a new league this year. No more LCs and Elmos. It's going to be a lot more competitive. They'll get Casa in league. They'll get Sonoma in league along with American Canyon, Napa, Vintage, and Justin Siena. So it should be really competitive. I think they absolutely have a shot to win it, and certainly a much higher NCS seed. It feels like they're building back towards being the best basketball team in Petaluma. Not tonight, but it feels like in a couple years, maybe they could, though Casa certainly got a good team too. We could get a huge rivalry between these two girls basketball programs, but a lot of hope in the years to come and a lot to remember as this was the turnaround year. We're going to try to grab interviews in just a moment. We're getting plenty of comments flying in from Andrew Gottschall and T-Mac and Cooper, one of our Trojan Live members as well. And don't forget, if you missed any of those girls basketball games, I think we live streamed a fair amount of these, had road coverage of the Annalee Road victory. Those are on our Trojan Live channel, except for the SCL Tournament Championship game, which is on ysn365.com. You can watch all the games in their entirety, all the interviews. Highly recommend checking that out. If you missed any of it, a lot of excitement this season, an excitement to remember. Same with the boys basketball season as well. They had a tough season, but you can check out all their games there in all the winter sports. Wrestling wins the SCL title as well, and girls soccer had a great season as well. We're going to try to grab interviews in just a moment. If you want to take over, Matthew, as we stick around for John Ratchet and maybe one more player. You want to take over, Matthew?
Sure, I was just moderating. So Ask Griffin tonight was a very good game for both Petaluma and Casa. Petaluma was just behind based off of those free throws. If they made them all, it would have been a very close game. The girls could have pulled it off, but it was shooting the 50% at the free throw line, which really cost the girls this game, which is definitely something that Coach Ratchin will most likely improve on next year. Now, with that said, there is definitely room for a lot of improvements on the team because Petaluma High girls basketball is growing from going all the way to NCS this year based on the last 2 years of not even making NCS. But this is definitely a huge step for our girls basketball team, and there's definitely more greatness to come from this team based off of what Coach Ratchen's able to offer and bring to our basketball program. So thank you guys so much for tuning into the live chat. We had a high viewer average for tonight's game, and without the viewers, we wouldn't really have the enthusiasm to do as much as we do. So a lot of this we do for you guys, so that way you can watch the game in the comfort of your home, and also you can review whatever play you want to and have the convenience of watching in comforts. Now then again, we don't want to discourage you from coming out to the games because it's a fun atmosphere here, and any team needs enthusiasm as being at home, which is something that we really need to bring to our home field. And we saw that a lot with the student section tonight, how they were able to bring the enthusiasm and fly the flag around and cheer on our girls. They could have done a little bit better, but it was definitely a step in the right direction for the girls program. I think Griffin's working on getting a couple players right now. Still got a little bit more time. He's trying to get Coach Ratchet and one other player. I'm unaware who he said he was trying to get. As Griffin said, this is our last live stream for winter sports. We will start baseball in a couple weeks, and here comes Griffin right now.
All right, we are going to have Kylie Pate join us. Had a very strong game tonight. You were able to put up, I think, 8 points and a couple key threes. How are you able to thrive in this exciting environment?
I just kept going. I really wanted to win. This is like my last game with everyone, obviously. So it was going to be our last home game, so I was just trying to do everything I could to win.
And was a lot of excitement in this gym, totally full stands. How much was this a reward for everything that you guys worked to get a game of this magnitude?
It was cool that people came to one of our last games to Casa, and I'm glad we got our last home game, so that was fun.
And I'm a little bit emotional right now. What are your thoughts as you think back on this amazingly successful season that surpassed everyone's expectations?
I think it's pretty cool. Nobody thought we would be good. I didn't even think we would be good. I kind of thought my coach was crazy when he said that we were going to win league this year, so to come that far was pretty awesome.
What was the key to you guys having a turnaround from last year? You were 9-18, finished 4th in SCL, to finishing undefeated in SCL.
I guess we just came together. Like last year was kind of like a beginning year with our new coach, and this year we just kind of came together and put it all together.
You've got one more year on this varsity girls basketball team, and obviously you guys improved a lot this year. What are your thoughts on next year as you guys head into a new league?
We're going to try to do our best. We know it's going to be a tougher league, but I think we're just going to go out there and do our best, and that's all we can hope for.
Thank you so much, Kylie.
Thank you.
That was Kylie Pate. We're going to talk to John Ratchen to wrap up our final varsity girls basketball interview of 2017-2018. It's good. It's perfect.
Hide the scar on the top of my head.
Yeah. Here with Coach Ratchen. Final time I have to torture you all the way into November. Sorry, I hope that sounds good.
Who knows? Maybe I'm not back.
Well, a tough game tonight. Felt like it came down to a few moments. What was the difference in not being able to pull it out?
You know, we had some shots we didn't finish that were there for us. Obviously, not having Jaden was a huge loss in a game like this. Just trying to adapt and figure out who's going to score for us. I think the girls played hard. I mean, realistically, the score was closer than when we played them in December. So, I mean, what can I complain about? The effort was fantastic.
And improved so much from this year, from last year. Won an SCL title when not a lot of people thought you would. How do you reflect and remember this season?
You know, I told the girls in the locker room it's amazing, but it's actually our first loss of 2018.
Yes.
So, I mean, regardless of how you may feel tonight, it's just been a great season. They've done a lot of really good things.
How important was this season and the work that this group of players had done to really turning around this program to struggling to feeling like you guys have a really bright future heading into next year in the new league?
It's huge for us. Just knowing that, you know, the coaches talked last year about how we actually felt we could have won even the league, even though we were 5-7 in it. But just learning how to play and give that effort every night. And it showed up this year. The girls really did a great job. You know, and I just told them I was reflecting on how proud I was of them. So.
Thank you, Coach, all season long. That was head coach John Ratson. Want to thank him again for doing interviews all season long. I know it's not his favorite thing in the world, but he does it. And thank you again to all the players that have been so courteous to all of us and getting interviews and helping out and being friendly to us and just allowing full coverage for the school. It's really been a pleasure to cover this team. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and exactly. And everything we do is for our viewers. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, showing the support for the teams by giving them views, and just we wouldn't be doing any of this if it wasn't for our viewership.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Appreciate all of our viewers on the basketball games. Don't forget, we do have a couple baseball and softball games. They're both going to be really good, along with some road coverage on our YouTube channel. So check that all out. Our next game uploaded will be a week from Saturday. The boys baseball team is going to take on Casa in the baseball egg bowl. It's going to be a lot of fun, so you can see that on our YouTube channel a week from Saturday. But back on the girls basketball team, they've been so fun to watch. They've really excelled, and they've played with a passion for the game, a passion for basketball, and they've always wanted it so much. And it's been a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to cover, to see their growth, their experience, and that they just love the game and they always found ways to win. It's truly been remarkable. I know I enjoyed it. You've came out to a fair amount of games.
And every game I've signed is every game that I've been at has been fun. It's been intense. And it's definitely something that this program hasn't been known for, but now they're making a name for themselves in SCL. But SCL is changing next year. Right. There is no more SCL, so they're definitely going to have a new challenge next year, and it's, from what I've seen, looks like they're up for it.
Yeah, this is the turnaround the dynasty. You want to give quick thoughts, Michael? Right. Wrap up after this, and Michael, you watch most of the team's games all season long. What are your thoughts on this game, but also looking at the season overall?
Well, as far as this game goes, you know, Casa Grande played a really good full court pressure. They trapped and they got a lot of steals. And I think offensively, you know, at times, you know, they just cannot get shots up, and they struggled tonight from the free throw line, which they usually don't. So, you know, it was a big crowd. It was a great atmosphere here tonight. You know, it could have been a little nerves, but overall, looking at the grand scheme of things, 23-6 is not something to hang your head about. You know, they had a 15-game winning streak coming into tonight. It was remarkable. They're a young team, only 3 seniors. Unfortunately, we're losing Nicole and Kelsey and Courtney, but this team is young. You know, Kylie's coming back. Hopefully, Jaden will be healthy next year. And this new league, I think these two teams are going to go at it next year in the Vine Valley League.
Definitely feels like both teams really young, should be a lot of fun. Just not enough from the Trojans tonight. But as Coach Ratchin mentioned, this team hadn't lost in 2018. We forget that. Before this, they really had a remarkable season, and feels like they're starting to return to that success that we saw back in the early 2000s for this program that was really a dominant force in this county, and they're returning to one of the best. This great group of players is going to be the one remembered that turned it around in Coach Ratchin's second season at the helm of Varsity Girls Basketball. To mention again, it's been a lot of fun to cover all season long. Want to thank everybody for all their help.
It's been great. Basketball season finishes here tonight as the Trojans fall short in the first round of the NCS playoffs. To Casa, thank you so much for tuning in and tuning in all season long. Good night, everyone.